Hello everyone and welcome to the 1950s. The makeup that I have on my face is very typical of what you would consider retro makeup, pin-up girl style makeup, or 50s in general. Makeup in the 1950s had a few traits that everybody recognizes, one being the bluish red, very bright lips that were very defined, another being the winged black liner. So I hope you enjoy my 1950s retro makeup tutorial, and let's get on with the show. I'm going to start out with my eyes. The eyes in the 1950s were very minimalistic but glamorous at the same time. So we would see a matte beige on the lid and on the highlight and a contoured crease. We would also see a very black winged liner. So I'm going to start out with Blanc Type, which is a matte beige color. I'm going to put that all over my lid and up to my brow. Next, I'm going to take a color called Charcoal Brown, which is a medium to dark brown that is a matte texture. I'm going to apply that all over my crease, giving it a very contoured look. Now I'm using a color called Wedge, which is a medium matte brown. I'm going to use a 224 blending brush and blend that in between the crease and the highlight. It just gives it a more flawlessly faded look. So there's my eyeshadow, if you can see, just a contoured look. Now I'm going to do the famous winged liner of the 50s. I'm going to be using a black gel liner called Black Track, and I'm going to be using a lip brush to apply this. And I love using lip brushes because they are very thin once you put the product on the brush. So the way that I do my winged liner is this line that's right here on the bottom lash and how it goes upwards. I follow that line and I continue it on toward the crease. And I draw the flip of my wing with my eyes opened, looking straight ahead. That way I can see what the wing flip is really going to look like, because a lot of times if you close your eyes and do your liner, chances are that when you open your eyes, the shape of it and the angle of it are going to look much different. Some people don't have that problem. I do, so I need to open my eyes to draw the wing so I can see exactly where it's going to go. So that's about how far out I want my wing to go. And then what I'm going to do is draw the rest of my liner and then kind of connect it there over by the wing. So that's about how your wing should look. You, of course, can make it more dramatic and bring it out further. So now that I have my eyeliner the way that I want it, I'm going to go ahead with a brown eyeliner in pencil form, and I'm just going to lightly do underneath my eye area in between the lashes. I'm using a color called Costa Riche. Eyeliner under the eye was popular in the 50s, but only in a small amount. So I've just done the outside area of my eye, and that's all I'm going to do. I am going to blend it a little bit better with a brush, but that's all you need. I'm going to use a very stiff pointed It's almost in between a liner brush and a pencil brush. This is from Royal and Long Nickel, and I'm just going to soften this line underneath the eye. My next step is to fill in my brows. The eyebrows in the 50s were kept at a natural thickness, but very arched and pointed, kind of how mine already are. I'm going to use a 266 brush, and I'm filling in with a color called Espresso. The next step I'm going to do is my lashes, obviously. I'm going to be using fake lashes, but I'm going to cut them short so that it just covers the outside of my lash line. This gives a very flirty look to the lashes. I'm going to start out with just doing a coat of mascara first. So what I've done is I've taken this lash that used to be like this, and I've cut it almost in half. And sometimes what I like to do, I'm not going to do it today, I'm just going to be using this half right here. But sometimes what I like to do is actually stack them on top of each other, and then it gives it an even thicker, fuller look. And I just use the back of a brush, a thin brush, you know, the handle part of it, and I dip it in my glue, and then I spread it on top. And what I'll do is I'll sit here for about a minute and a half, and I'll let this glue get nice and tacky, because if it's too wet when you put it on, it'll just slide around and it'll be really hard to apply it. But if it's tacky when you put it on, it kind of stays put right where you put it. While my lashes are drying, I'm going to start out with a little bit of concealer. I've already put it under my eye area, and now I'm going to move on to my foundation. Foundations were very matte back in the 50s, so you'll want to make sure that whatever you use either has a matte finish or you set with a powder that gives a very matte finish. MAC's blot powder is a really good one to set with if you're looking for a very matte look. I've got my foundation on. I'm going to go ahead and set with a little bit of MAC blot powder. Now I'm going to move on to my blush. I'm using a color called Blush Baby, which is a very popular color with MAC. Roses and lighter pinks were very common colors to use in the 50s, and they didn't apply it too heavy, just something to show that there's a little bit of color there. I'm also going to contour, which was really big in the 50s. I'm going to be using a grayish medium matte brown. So I'm using taupe. I'm going to be using a 168 brush, and I'm just going right underneath in the hollows of my cheeks, kind of in a half moon circular shape. And that's it. It was also common to use a warm, shimmery highlight cream from the temples down up under the eye area. This was to highlight the cheekbone. I'm going to be using a glimmer shimmer that is unfortunately discontinued, but it is a warmish color. And I'm just going to start up here. I'm using a sponge. I'm just dabbing it on, and that gives a nice pretty glow right where you want it. Lastly is lips. bright bluish reds were in season for the 50s, as well as very defined and pointed lips. I'll first line with a red lip liner called Red, and I'm really going to accentuate and make the bow of my lip pretty pointy. It was also common to overline your top lip to make it look fuller. Going to fill in my lips with a lipstick called Tassel from MAC. It is no longer available, but a good alternative is called Ruby Woo, which is a great blue-red matte color. Just going to finish off with a couple more coats of mascara and then we'll be done. So here's my finalized 1950s makeup look, which is the same as a typical pin-up makeup style. Check out my blog for the other decade's makeup look if you'd like. And join me next time for the early 1960s makeup look. I'll also be doing a late 1960s makeup look since the styles changed so much in between those years. I hope you learned something from this and enjoy your retro makeup.